Unlock the door to mystery with one very short story. The micro-podcast filled with morally complex characters, twists you won't predict, and endings you won't forget. Every episode is a brief, intense journey, perfect for listeners who crave mystery, intrigue, and stories that leave you thinking long after the tale ends. Today's episode begins now. When the clock stops. The old man sat in a threadbare armchair by the window, back straight, hands folded, watching the second hand tick across the face of a plastic wall clock. Tick, tick, tick. The time was 2:37 p.m. He had exactly 4 hours and 23 minutes left to live. Outside, children laughed on their way home from school, dragging backpacks and throwing acorns. A woman across the street hosed her driveway in neat zigzags. It was all too bright, too normal. The world had no right to be so casual with his time. His name was Vernon, 72 years old, a frame like weathered iron and a face that looked carved from driftwood. If Clint Eastwood had stopped aging in a desert town, he'd look like Cal. Grim, gaunt, silent. He had once carried weight in his shoulders and fire in his spine. Now he carried time. Only time. They didn't let him have razors. No pills, no shoelaces. The windows were sealed with double locks. Not because he was dangerous, but because he might do something they didn't want. "Afternoon, Mr. Vernon," chirped the nurse who entered like sunshine, carrying a tray with Jell-O and black coffee. Cal didn't respond. He watched the clock. "Have you written your letters yet?" she asked, fluffing his pillow like he was dying of something soft and graceful. He wasn't. No one to write to. "That's not true," she said with rehearsed optimism. "Your son called yesterday." Cal gave her a look, the kind that could curdle paint. "He called because they told him to." The nurse sighed and left, taking her bright perfume with her. He closed his eyes and imagined his very first birthday. He was a screaming child then, full of energy and possibility. No one knew for sure when he was going to be born. Doctors made a rough estimate. Any day now, they told his parents. And they waited, patiently. But that was years ago. And this wasn't about the day he entered the world. This was about the day he would leave it, June 22nd, 2025, 7 p.m. He had known the time for 6 months. That's when the letter came. "You are scheduled for involuntary termination at 7 p.m. on June 22nd, 2025, per State Directive 14B. That was all. A date, a time, a government seal. He remembered vomiting when he first read it, certain it was a prank. But then came the officers, the interviews, the handlers, and the waiting. Always the waiting. They wouldn't say why, just, it's been decided. He hadn't been charged with any crime. There was no trial. Just the directive. Just talk of overpopulation. For months he tried everything. Fought in court, screamed in the news, begged the pastor whose eyes stayed soft, but whose hands stayed folded. Every appeal was denied. Every question unanswered. He had been selected. The nurse returned at 6:40 p.m. 2 silent guards followed. "It's time to prepare, Mr. Vernon." Cal stood without help. No dignity in dying, but maybe some in walking yourself to it. They led him down a hallway with walls the color of old bones, through 2 steel doors, into a small room that looked like a dentist's office with worse lighting. A padded chair waited. So did a man in a lab coat. "Any final words?" someone asked. A camera blinked red. Cal looked into it like it owed him money. "You'll all get your letter someday," he said. They strapped him in. His heart pounded in defiance. At exactly 7 p.m., a soft hiss filled the air. Cal closed his eyes. Outside the building, a white van pulled away with the state's new slogan stamped across the side. Selective Population Management for a Sustainable Tomorrow. A young nurse stood by the door, watching the van disappear into traffic. She shivered. Her phone buzzed. "Your eligibility notice has arrived. Please check your mailbox." She dropped the phone. Thanks for listening to one very short story. If today's story hooked you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us grow and keeps the suspense coming your way. Want to dive deeper? Check out the podcast description to learn more about the show and explore special offers from our sponsor. Until next time, keep dodging bullets and stay safe in the shadows.